I noticed 8 distinct ways this extremely rare psychological condition shows up. It's something I see in women who have reached a higher level of self-awareness, a state I believe fewer than 5% of people ever reach. These aren't just quirks or random traits. They are clear signs of advanced psychological growth, something I understood through my own intense journey into the depths of my mind and through years of careful observation. This isn't a path for everyone. It's for the few who are called to live at a higher psychological level. If you've always felt a deep sense of being different from those around you, this could explain why. If people have called you too sensitive, too intense, or overly thoughtful, you might belong to this rare group. Doctors often treat these traits as problems. Family members might tell you to be normal, or to quiet the storm inside. Society sees your depth as confusion, your authenticity as antisocial, your complexity as a flaw. You may have been made to feel there is something wrong with your very soul. But what if everything you've been told is wrong, is actually proof that you are ahead of the rest of humanity? What if your psychological depth isn't a flaw, but an advanced capacity that others haven't reached yet? I call women who reach this level of growth individuated. They have integrated all parts of themselves, the conscious and unconscious, into a balanced, harmonious whole. They are fully aware, authentic, and psychologically independent. They act as catalysts for change, inspiring others by simply being themselves. The 8 signs I'm about to describe aren't random traits. They are real indicators of this rare psychological growth. The ways the mind unites opposing parts to reach a higher consciousness. If you see yourself in these patterns, you're not broken. You're discovering your evolutionary potential. You are part of a new wave of human consciousness, modeling what it looks like when women evolve beyond the expectations and limits of society. The question isn't whether you see these traits in yourself. The question is whether you're ready to understand why you've always felt so different and what that difference means for the future. First, sacred authenticity. You can't pretend to be someone else, and that isn't a weakness. It's a sign of psychological evolution. You feel compelled to be honest, to live truthfully, and it feels essential, as necessary as breathing. While others shift personalities depending on work, home, or friends, you simply can't. Social gatherings feel suffocating when everyone is pretending. Small talk feels foreign. People seem to have a guide to social performance that somehow never reached you. I call this conscious differentiation from the persona, the mask we wear to adapt. Most people become so identified with these masks that they lose touch with themselves. The teacher, who is always instructing, even at home. The executive who can't stop performing authority. The people pleaser who lives in others' expectations. You aren't like this. You've naturally separated your true self from these functional masks. Your discomfort with inauthenticity is actually your mind protecting your wholeness. While others lose themselves in their roles, you stay integrated, refusing to compromise your true self. This isn't stubbornness. It's psychological sophistication. Yes, it makes you intense. Yes, people may say you're too real, but this intensity separates you from the masses. Your authenticity creates a space where others feel safe to drop their masks, simply because your presence demands truth. The shadow side is that your authenticity can feel like superiority if you judge others for wearing their social masks. But the truth is, your authenticity isn't making you difficult, it's making you whole. In a world full of performance and pretense, wholeness is revolutionary. Second, conscious independence. Being someone who doesn't need external validation doesn't mean you're cold or disconnected. You have reached a level of inner mastery, the kind of self-reliance that feels almost otherworldly. You stand firm without needing anyone's approval. While others constantly look for agreement or change themselves based on who is in the room, you follow your own internal compass, one that rarely wavers. People may call you stubborn. They might say you don't care about what others think. Family may worry you're isolating yourself. Friends may feel intimidated by your independence. What you've done is remarkable. You've faced the parts of yourself that society told you to hide. You've confronted the light and the dark, the strength and the weakness within you. Most people seek validation because they haven't accepted themselves. You, however, have looked inward and found your own approval. You've freed yourself from constantly needing permission from others. Making decisions without asking for consensus isn't being antisocial. It's following your own ethical and moral compass. Your self-reliance comes from reclaiming your inner energy. While others waste themselves managing appearances or avoiding their inner darkness, you've embraced it and become whole. This isn't selfishness. It's true psychological freedom. Yes, your independence may feel intimidating to those still chasing approval. Yes, people might misread it as aloofness, but this is the gift of self-reliance. You are showing what it looks like when a person stops needing external validation and begins trusting their own inner authority. Your independence is not antisocial. It is sovereignty. You have also reached a state of balance that feels extraordinary. You are neither easily labeled as introverted nor extroverted. You can spend hours alone, reflecting and feeling complete. Then step into a room and connect with others with energy and authenticity. Others may be confused. Are you introverted or extroverted? Some days you crave solitude like air. Other days you crave connection just as intensely. Most people get stuck in one mode. Extroverts burn out without constant social stimulation. Introverts shrink without time alone. You have gone beyond that. You have developed the ability to navigate both worlds, moving fluidly between reflection and engagement. This is not inconsistency. This is the full spectrum of human potential. You naturally bridge gaps between different people. Introverts feel understood by your depth. Extroverts feel energized by your presence. This is not just social skill, it's psychological completeness. Yes, some may find it confusing. Some may even feel suspicious. But this balance is what allows you to continue growing. It is your ability to turn inward for wisdom and outward for experience that drives evolution. If misused, this adaptability could look like restlessness or indecision. But the gift is that you show what consciousness looks like when it refuses to be one-sided. Your flexibility is not instability. It is wholeness. You have also reached a sense of inner completeness that transcends old societal rules. While the world clings to rigid ideas of what women and men should be, you embody the qualities of both freely. As a woman, you can think logically, make confident decisions, and assert yourself without apology. Others may say you're not like most women. They might be confused, even uncomfortable. What you have achieved is extraordinary. You have embraced the full range of your abilities: emotional, rational, relational, and independent. You honor both your intuition and your logic, both your capacity for deep connection and your self-sufficiency. You are not less of yourself for doing this. You are more fully human. Yes, this may make others uneasy with their own denied qualities. Yes, some may question whether you fit traditional roles. But this wholeness allows you to help others recognize their own untapped potential. If misused, this integration could look like judgment toward others. But the gift is that you show what consciousness looks like when it refuses to be limited by culture or expectation. Your wholeness is not confusion. It is freedom. You are now moving toward purpose, toward self-guidance, toward living life on your own terms. You make choices rooted in your own moral compass. You act from authenticity, not from a desire to please. You are self-reliant, balanced, complete, and empowered. This is not arrogance. This is sovereignty. This is living as a fully realized woman in a world that constantly tries to define you. The energy you radiate, the independence you hold, the balance you maintain, the wholeness you embody, they are all proof of what happens when a woman stops seeking permission and begins to trust herself. This is your power. This is your life. This is your consciousness in motion. There comes a moment in a woman's life when the ego finally steps back and lets something deeper take the lead. You feel guided in a way that almost doesn't make sense, like the direction is coming from somewhere wiser inside you. Your biggest decisions stop coming from overthinking or from trying to please people. Instead, they rise from a quiet truth inside your own body. You may turn down a high-paying job simply because it doesn't feel right. You choose relationships, environments, and paths that match your soul, even if they confuse your logical mind. And when people ask you, how do you know? You can't explain it. You just feel it. It's as if your inner compass speaks in a language you haven't fully learned to translate. You begin to realize your ego, that everyday identity you show the world, is only a tiny piece of who you actually are. The deeper self within you is the true center, the quiet intelligence shaping your life from the inside out. Most people stay trapped in ego mode, chasing approval, collecting things, trying not to be uncomfortable. But you've taken on the difficult but beautiful work of letting the ego release control. When you make choices that seem unreasonable to others, but absolutely essential to you, you're not being irresponsible. You're living from a deeper truth. And the ability to follow that inner truth, even when it pulls you away from the usual definition of success, is a sign of real psychological growth. Of course, there's a shadow side. That same guidance can turn into an escape if you use it to avoid responsibilities. But the real gift is this: you're proving that a woman can rise beyond fear-based, survival-driven choices and live from purpose instead. Your inner guidance isn't making you unrealistic. It's making you honest about who you really are. Then something else happens. Your intuition becomes sharper. It's a natural result of trusting your deeper self. You start knowing things without having to think about them. You see patterns, possibilities, and truths that others overlook. It's not guessing, it's a direct knowing. Your dreams may become more vivid, more symbolic, offering insight about what's happening inside you before you realize it in your waking life. This intuitive sense helps you anticipate changes, understand people deeply, and read situations with surprising clarity. People come to you for insight because somehow you just get it. This is your inner voice speaking through symbols, feelings, and sudden flashes of understanding. And then there's the part of your journey that has nothing to do with following a predictable plan. Your path doesn't fit neatly into society's expectations. Your career may not have a clear category. Your relationships may not match the timelines people expect. Your decisions often surprise people who thought they knew what you should do. Maybe you turned down a promotion because it didn't align with your spirit. Maybe you moved somewhere simply because it called to you. Maybe you started something others called unrealistic, but you knew it mattered. When someone asks, "What's your 5-year plan?" you realize your life unfolds step by step, not through rigid strategy, but through an inner pull. To live this way, you have to step away from the cultural scripts handed to you. Many people spend their whole lives acting out the expectations they inherited, but you've chosen something far more courageous, building a life that reflects your own truth. When you make decisions that go against the norm, you're not rebelling. You're becoming your truest self. Your willingness to disappoint others so you don't disappoint yourself takes real courage. And this independence isn't selfish. It's essential for mental health and for helping the world evolve. Your intuition shows you which opportunities align with your purpose and which ones are only shiny distractions. Yes, there's a shadow side here too. This independence can turn into isolation if you lose compassion for people who are still figuring themselves out. But the gift is powerful. You're showing what a woman's life looks like when she chooses meaning over approval. Your choices aren't making you irresponsible. They're making you conscious. And over time, something even more extraordinary develops inside you. A quiet mastery. You gain access to all parts of your mind. You think clearly when logic is needed. You honor emotions when the heart is involved. You stay grounded and practical when reality requires it. And you stay open to intuition when something deeper wants to speak. People find you difficult to categorize. Some say, you're so analytical, but you're also so intuitive, as if those traits can't exist in the same woman. Most people lean heavily on one way of operating, but your journey has pushed you to grow in every direction. Now you can use the right part of your mind at the right time. This gives you a kind of wisdom that can't be faked. You're able to meet people exactly where they are because you've developed the parts of yourself they rely on. The shadow side is that this adaptability can turn into manipulation if you start using it to tell people what they want to hear. But the real gift is that you're proving what happens when a woman refuses to stay small or one-dimensional. Your complexity doesn't make you inconsistent. It makes you whole. But now comes the warning, because every gift has a shadow. If you don't stay aware, 3 things can distort all this growth. First, the superiority trap. When you've grown in ways others haven't, it's easy to look down on them and turn your evolution into ego. That destroys connection and turns wisdom into arrogance. Then there's the savior trap. Because you see what others can't yet see, you may feel compelled to rescue everyone, to teach to fix, to guide without being asked. And that drains you while robbing others of the lessons they need to learn themselves. And then there's the martyr trap. When you feel misunderstood by the world, you can start wearing your loneliness like an identity, believing no one will ever fully understand you. That pain can turn into isolation instead of connection. But here's the truth. These gifts were never meant to make you feel superior or special. They were meant to make you useful. You carry this psychological depth not for self-glory,